There's a quiet truth I think many of us understand. Elegance doesn't begin with a dress or a flawless face of makeup, it begins with the very first step you take, the shoes you choose. And sometimes, it only takes one small detail to shift everything. A pair of shoes that's too worn, too childish, or just a little off, and suddenly people don't see the woman you truly are. They miss the strength, the grace, the story you carry, all because of what's on your feet. I've worked with so many women over 50. Women who are confident, wise, accomplished, and no longer dressing to impress anyone but themselves. They don't chase trends. They value comfort, authenticity, and the kind of style that quietly speaks for itself. But even the most thoughtful wardrobe can be thrown off by the wrong pair of shoes. I've seen it happen again and again where a single choice at ground level affects the entire look, the energy, even the way you carry yourself. Because after 50, we're not trying to prove anything anymore. We're simply choosing to show up as the best version of ourselves every day. And that begins, quite literally, from the ground up. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 types of shoes that might be quietly holding you back, and more importantly, offer beautiful alternatives that can help you walk taller, feel more confident, and step fully into your power. Because your style doesn't need to shout, it just needs to feel like you. Number 1. Worn-out ballet flats that have lost their shape. I remember the afternoon so clearly. Evelyn, one of my longtime clients, walked into the fitting room wearing the most elegant outfit, soft pearl gray silk trousers, a blush pink cashmere cardigan, and her hair pulled back in a graceful low bun. Her presence was timeless. For a moment, she looked like she'd stepped straight out of a Ralph Lauren ad, and then I looked down. She was wearing a pair of worn-out ballet flats. The faux leather had creased beyond repair, the soles had collapsed, and the little bow on top was flattened like it had given up. That one detail, her shoes, pulled the entire look down in an instant. It was like watching a symphony go off-key in the final note. And this isn't just about Evelyn. I see it all the time. So many women over 50 hold on to old flats because they feel familiar, broken in, easy. But the truth is they're quietly sabotaging your whole look. Shoes that have lost their structure, shape, or style, no matter how comfortable, start sending the wrong message. I've stopped paying attention. I once asked Evelyn gently, when was the last time you slipped on a pair of flats and felt powerful? She smiled softly. Back when I still had a corner office. Here's the thing, no one is asking you to give up comfort. But after 50, comfort should come with confidence, not compromise. Instead of thin, shapeless flats that collapse at the heel, try a pair of pointed-toe flats in soft suede or matte leather. The subtle point elongates the leg and the structure adds polish. A nude tone or soft blush blends beautifully with the skin and adds grace without drawing attention to itself. Another favorite option, a well-crafted loafer. Not the stiff kind from your corporate years, I mean the kind that molds to your foot, has a subtle gold buckle or brushed metal trim, and whispers quiet luxury. Think navy, rich brown, soft ivory, colors that go with everything and elevate anything. A tiny 1 to 2 inch heel can do wonders for your posture without sacrificing comfort. I once saw Diane Keaton at an art opening in Santa Monica wearing bone-colored wide-leg trousers, a white oversized blouse, and sleek leather loafers with a sculpted heel. She didn't need high heels or sparkle. Her shoes did exactly what they were supposed to, support her style without stealing the spotlight. So many women put energy into the top half of their outfit, the lipstick, the blouse, the jewelry, but forget that elegance begins at ground level. Shoes are the first thing people notice when you walk into a room. They set the tone before you even say a word. A good pair of flats won't just support your feet, they'll support your story. So let me ask you, when you look at the flats in your closet, do they lift you up or pull you down? Number 2, chunky neon sneakers that overpower your look. She walked into the room wearing a light, cream-colored linen dress that moved with every step. Her hair was pinned up in a soft bun, and she had a pair of delicate gold earrings that caught the afternoon sun just right. It was a casual family gathering at a winery, the kind of day where you want to look put together without trying too hard. And for the most part, she absolutely nailed it. Except for one thing, her sneakers. They were loud, hot pink, neon-accented, thick-soled running shoes, and they completely hijacked her outfit. It wasn't just a mismatch. It felt like the sneakers had walked in from a different universe. From the ankles up, she was classic California elegance. From the ankles down, it was more like she was late for a cardio class. And I get it, sneakers are comfortable. For many of us, they've become the everyday shoe. But not all sneakers are created equal. Those brightly colored, overbuilt athletic shoes are great for the gym, but they don't translate well to real life, especially when you're wearing linen, soft denim, or a flowy midi dress. The proportions get thrown off. The color overwhelms. And instead of elevating your look, those sneakers end up dragging it down. But here's the good news, you don't have to give up sneakers to look elegant. In fact, some of the most stylish women over 50 wear sneakers beautifully because they choose minimalist designs that complement their wardrobe instead of competing with it. Picture this. Soft white leather sneakers with clean lines, no big logos, no wild color blocking. A gentle almond-shaped toe. Maybe a warm beige or dove gray suede for variety. These kinds of sneakers don't scream for attention. They simply blend in, offering comfort and polish at the same time. I remember seeing a photo of Jane Fonda in a pair just like that, paired with cropped jeans and a crisp button-down shirt. No flash, no fuss. Just timeless style worn with absolute confidence. Her sneakers didn't try to youthify her. They didn't have to. They matched her energy, modern, effortless, and strong. So before you slip on those neon trainers with your favorite outfit, pause and ask yourself, are these shoes supporting your look or stealing the spotlight from it? Because the best sneakers don't try too hard. They just let you look like the most refined version of yourself. Number 3, rubber flip-flops that undermine your elegance. It was a perfect summer morning at a cafe near Venice Beach. The breeze was soft, the sunlight golden, and the patio was filled with women who looked effortlessly put together, light cotton dresses, linen shirts, oversized sunglasses. And then she walked in. She wore a beautiful ivory midi dress. Her hair was cut short in a chic, practical style. Her skin had that healthy glow of someone who spends time outdoors. From the waist up, she was elegance in motion. But then I looked down. Rubber flip-flops, thin, black, and flapping with every step. And just like that, the moment shifted. Not because flip-flops are inherently bad, they're fine at the pool or by the beach. But in that setting, with that outfit, they felt completely out of place. It was like wearing a silk blouse with pajama pants. The balance was off. The intention was lost. Rubber flip-flops, while comfortable and easy, often send the wrong message. They flatten your posture, expose too much of the foot, and break the flow of an otherwise refined outfit. They make it look like you stopped caring, like you gave up at the ankles. One of my clients once told me flip-flops felt like pure freedom, and I get it. But here's the truth. Freedom in fashion doesn't mean giving up, it means choosing ease with intention. So what's a better alternative? Try a pair of leather slides in soft neutral tones, tan, beige, ivory. Look for wide straps that hug the foot gently, cushioned soles, and clean lines that align with the elegance of your outfit. These shoes still feel breathable and easy, but they elevate you, literally and stylistically. I always think of Diane Keaton walking along Santa Monica in her classic wide-leg trousers, an oversized white blouse, and a simple pair of tan leather slides. No sparkle, no fuss, just quiet sophistication. Flip-flops might belong to your 20s, but after 50, your shoes should reflect who you've become, not just where you're going. They should honor your story, your presence, your sense of self. Casual doesn't mean careless. It means comfort with style, ease with presence. So here's the question. Are your sandals walking you toward the best version of yourself or just back to the pool? Number 4, sky-high stilettos that trade style for pain. A friend of mine once wore a pair of 4-inch stilettos to her nephew's wedding. The shoes were stunning, sleek black leather, razor-sharp heel, the kind of shoe that turns heads before you even say a word. And for the first few minutes, she did look incredible. But then she stopped moving. She stood still most of the evening, gripping the edge of the cocktail table like a lifeline. I could see it in her posture, shoulders slightly tense, steps shortened to barely a shuffle. At one point she whispered to me, "I'm too scared to walk. These heels feel like stilts." And that's the truth about sky-high stilettos. They may look glamorous when you're standing still, but they often strip away the very thing that makes a woman truly magnetic, her presence in motion. Because elegance isn't about towering over a crowd. It's about walking into a room with ease, with grace, with quiet confidence. And no matter how beautiful the shoe, if it makes you feel unstable, hesitant, or clenched, it's working against you. That's why I always recommend a more thoughtful alternative. A kitten heel or a low block heel around 2 inches. It still offers lift, elongates the leg, and pairs beautifully with dresses, trousers, or skirts, but without the wobble. Choose styles with almond or softly pointed toes to maintain that sleek silhouette, and opt for materials like soft leather or suede that mold to your foot over time. I often think of Helen Mirren when I talk about heels. She's a perfect example of a woman who owns every room she walks into, not because she's in 6-inch pumps, but because she understands what works for her. She wears low heels with structure, poise, and personality. Her shoes move with her, not against her. So the next time you reach for those sky-high stilettos, pause for a second. Do they help you stand tall, or are they keeping you from moving freely? Because true elegance doesn't teeter. It walks, it flows, it leads. Number 5, worn-out shoes that quietly diminish your presence. One of my clients, a sharp, accomplished woman in her early 60s, always dressed with impeccable taste. Silk blouses, structured trousers, a classic trench on rainy days. But there was one thing that always caught my eye: her shoes. She wore the same pair of loafers every time we met. They were once beautiful, but now the leather was scuffed, the shape had collapsed, and the soles leaned to one side. They didn't just look tired, they made her look tired. And the worst part, she didn't even notice it anymore. We all have that one pair we reach for out of habit. They're familiar, broken-in, part of our routine. But the truth is, worn-out shoes quietly undermine your entire look. They signal that somewhere along the way you stopped paying attention. And no matter how polished the rest of your outfit may be, those shoes tell a different story. It's not about buying new things all the time. It's about maintaining what you already love and knowing when it's time to let go. Because after 50, your shoes shouldn't just fit your feet. They should reflect your standards. A better option. A pair of well-made leather loafers or flats, lovingly maintained. They don't have to be new, they just need to be cared for. Polish the leather, replace the soles if needed. Use shoe trees to hold their shape, store them properly. The smallest details make the biggest difference, and that effort says, "I value myself." I once saw a photo of Helen Mirren in a pair of classic brogues, deep oxblood leather with a soft patina from age. They weren't flashy. They weren't trendy. But they were clearly cared for, clearly chosen, and they gave her walk a sense of quiet authority. So the next time you slip on that go-to pair by the door, take a closer look. Are they still lifting you up or slowly wearing you down? Because your shoes don't just carry you through the day. They carry the way you see yourself. Number 6, overly embellished shoes that steal the spotlight. I once owned a pair of silver glitter heels, the kind that sparkled so brightly in the box, they practically begged to be worn to every party. At first glance, they felt fun, festive, and full of personality. But every time I tried to wear them, something just didn't feel right. With tailored gray trousers, too flashy, with a classic black dress. Suddenly, it looked like I was trying too hard. With my favorite beige jumpsuit, the entire outfit lost its quiet elegance. Instead of adding polish, the shoes took over. They pulled all the attention to themselves, like a tiny disco ball strapped to each foot. I realized I was no longer dressing for myself, I was dressing around the shoes. And that's when I knew. They weren't working for me, I was working for them. You see, sparkle isn't the problem. It's the intensity, the volume, the intention. Loud embellishments, rhinestones, oversized metallic hardware, shiny chains tend to overpower a look, especially when everything else is subtle. They can make an outfit feel unbalanced, even chaotic. It's hard to look effortless when your shoes are doing all the talking. What I needed wasn't less shine, it was refined shine. I replaced those glitter bombs with a pair of satin kitten heels in a soft champagne hue, just a touch of glow and a delicate gold buckle at the ankle. No one commented on the shoes themselves, and that was the point. They didn't steal the show. They supported it. I always think about how someone like Helen Mirren or Diane Keaton would style sparkle. They don't wear statement shoes that beg for attention. They wear pieces that complement, not compete. A brushed metallic, a sculptural heel, a tiny accent that invites a second glance rather than demands one. So the next time you reach for that pair of super sparkly shoes, take a moment and ask yourself, are these helping me shine or making everyone else squint? Because great style doesn't scream, it whispers with confidence. Number 7. Slouchy UGG boots that sacrifice structure. It's a chilly morning. You're running late, coffee in hand, coat zipped up tight. You glance at the shoes by the door, and without a second thought, you slide into your favorite UGG boots. They're soft, warm, and familiar, like a cozy blanket for your feet. But then, just before heading out, you catch your reflection in the mirror and suddenly, it hits you. You don't look ready for the day. You look like you're heading to a sleepover. And that's the problem with UGG-style boots. Yes, they're undeniably comfortable, but they also tend to collapse around the ankle, hide the shape of your legs, and throw off the balance of your outfit. Even the most thoughtfully put-together look, tailored jeans, a beautiful wool coat, a crisp turtleneck can feel undone the moment those oversized, slouchy boots come into play. They were made for lounging, not leading. But here's the thing, you don't have to choose between being warm and looking polished. There's a better middle ground. Instead of shapeless shearling, opt for a pair of ankle boots in structured suede or matte leather. Look for styles with a snug fit around the ankle and a low block heel for support and elegance. These kinds of boots not only keep you warm, but also add definition to your silhouette and refinement to your look. I always think of opera in winter. She's often seen in sleek, fitted ankle boots, rich suede, deep earth tones, no flashy details. Just clean lines, subtle texture, and that signature sense of confidence. It's proof that you can be cozy and elevated at the same time. So next time the temperature drops and you're tempted to grab the fluffiest pair by the door, ask yourself, do I want to feel wrapped in comfort or wrapped in confidence? Because honestly, you can have both. You don't have to choose. Number 8. Backless mules that disrupt your confidence. You're walking into a quiet gallery, linen dress flowing, hair pinned up, soft light bouncing off polished floors. The space feels serene, intentional. You feel graceful. Until you take another step. Clack, flap, clack. That sound, the unmistakable slapping of a backless mule as your heel slides in and out, cuts through the silence like a dropped spoon at a dinner party. Suddenly, you're not gliding anymore. You're adjusting your pace, tightening your posture, focusing more on keeping your shoe on than on the art in front of you. And just like that, the moment changes. The thing about backless flat mules is that they look chic in your closet and stylish in still photos. But in real life, especially in quiet spaces like galleries, bookstores, or museums, they can betray you. The lack of support makes every step feel unsure. And that small, awkward noise, it chips away at your confidence with every echo. The solution? Don't give up on that minimalist aesthetic, just choose a version that moves with you, not against you. Try mules with a slim back strap, or better yet, a pair of slingbacks that hug your heel without disrupting the clean lines. Look for low heels, soft materials like suede or satin, and a structure that holds your foot securely. That way, your shoes support your stride, not interrupt it. Because true elegance isn't just about how you look standing still. It's about how confidently you move through the room. So ask yourself, Is the sound of your step steady or silently asking for help? Number 9. Childlike Mary Janes that undercut your sophistication. Some shoes are cute, and that's the problem. Traditional Mary Janes with chunky rubber soles and thick Velcro straps might feel familiar, even comforting. But let's be honest, they often look like something a 10-year-old would wear to piano lessons, not something that belongs on a woman with decades of style, strength, and wisdom behind her. I've seen grown women, stylish, put-together women, pair these shoes with beautiful outfits, only to have the entire look brought down by that one childlike detail. The shape is too round, the straps too thick, the soles too flat. Instead of elevating the outfit, these shoes anchor it in the wrong era and the wrong age. But here's the good news: Mary Janes don't have to be off-limits. In fact, when done right, they're one of the most graceful, versatile styles a woman can own. Start with the shape. Look for a soft pointed or almond toe. It lengthens the foot and gives a more refined silhouette. Choose straps that are thin and delicate, made of leather or satin, and skip the bulky Velcro in favor of a classic buckle. Some modern designs even offer double straps for an extra touch of charm without tipping into costume territory. A low block heel or kitten heel, anywhere from 1.5 to 3 inches, adds subtle height and instantly upgrades the look from schoolgirl to sophisticated. Materials matter too. Opt for matte leather, suede, or velvet, and classic shades like navy, oxblood, or deep espresso brown. These tones aren't trendy, they're timeless. Picture Diane Keaton in Mary Janes. Do you see her in foam soles and wide straps? Of course not. You see her in something structured, smart, and quietly iconic, a shoe that complements her presence, not softens it. So next time you're eyeing a pair of Mary Janes, ask yourself, are these giving youthfulness or just making me look young? Because when you wear a pair that fits your elegance, no one will ever confuse you with a 6th grader. They'll see a woman who knows exactly who she is, and exactly how she wants to walk through the world. Number 10. Ultra-Glossy patent shoes that compete with you for attention. She walked into the faculty lounge on a chilly fall afternoon, wearing a rich caramel turtleneck, a wool midi skirt in warm brown tones, and a beautifully tailored trench coat. Everything about her outfit felt seasonally perfect, warm, textured, and thoughtfully layered. But then there were the shoes. Glossy black patent leather, shiny enough to reflect the overhead lights like a mirror. With each step, the shoes seemed to shout, and not in a good way. They didn't just draw attention. They disrupted the entire outfit, clashing with the softness of the wool, the calm of the color palette, and the quiet sophistication she'd so carefully built. That's the challenge with high-shine patent leather. It can look polished in a product photo or glamorous on a red carpet, but in real life, especially paired with fall and winter textures, it often comes across as stiff, loud, or even a little cheap. Instead of adding depth to your look, it bounces light in every direction and fights for attention. But you don't have to sacrifice interest for elegance. Choose materials with soft finishes like matte leather, brushed suede, or muted metallics. These textures don't scream. They whisper. They absorb light instead of reflecting it harshly, and they complement the richness of fall fabrics like cashmere, wool, or corduroy. Think warm chocolate brown, slate gray, deep burgundy, or antique gold, tones that feel both timeless and grounded. Jane Fonda, for example, often wears shoes in these materials when she appears on talk shows. They're never flashy. They never try to steal the scene, but they always complete her look with grace, intention, and authority. Because true elegance isn't about chasing the spotlight. It's about being the steady, unmistakable light in the room. You don't need to reflect every bulb on the ceiling. You reflect something much more powerful: your presence. There are shoes you once loved, shoes that carried you through seasons of life, made you feel grounded, stylish, even unstoppable. But if you're being honest, some of those pairs might not reflect who you are today. Because after 50, style isn't about chasing trends or pleasing anyone else. It's about choosing with intention. It's about knowing what feels right, not just on your feet, but in your spirit. You've walked through too much to settle for anything less than what honors you. Now is the time to wear things that reflect your strength, your grace, your story. Not just what fits, but what feels like you, proud, steady, and true. So tomorrow, when you open your closet and reach for a pair of shoes, choose the one that doesn't just fit your foot, choose the one that fits your self-respect. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had a pair of shoes you adored, but eventually had to let go of because they no longer match the woman you've become? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to read it, like a quiet conversation between old friends.